I'm Lizzie Pinkerton. I'm the manager of the Belfast Hills Landscape Partnership Scheme and have been since its very initial stages back in 2011. This scheme has been fantastic. It's involved so many different people and so many different elements, so it's really hard for me to pick what my favourite one is. However, if I had to choose, it's probably the Belfast Hills Heritage Festival. We've ran this festival for a week long each summer for the last 5 years to introduce people to the Belfast Hills. It's been really varied and it's involved lots of different elements, walks, talks, art, music and even a murder mystery night. We've had over 3,600 people attend this festival. So we're now going to show you a short clip to introduce it to you for yourselves.
The Belfast Hills dominate the city's skyline, but how much do you really know about them? In its third year, the Belfast Hills Partnership is running a 10-day series of events linked to the heritage of the hills. The Belfast Hills Heritage Festival kicked off today with a Landscapes and Legends bus tour, which stopped off here at Glen Forest Park. Outreach Officer Joe Boylan says it's a fantastic opportunity to learn about the area.
Well, today is the first day of the Belfast Hills Heritage Festival, which is kicking off with the Landscapes and Legends bus tour of the Belfast Hills. And this event's a really great event because people who maybe haven't had access to the hills, who maybe aren't particularly mobile, get to have a good initiation into some of our key sites.
Joe said local people can learn a lot about the history of the area they live in.
The Belfast Hills are steeped in history, basically from the Neolithic times right up to the present day. So I think it's important for local people to learn about that heritage and the biodiversity associated with the hills as well.
The Heritage Festival will return to Glen tomorrow for a woodland wander to learn about the local plant and animal life. Other events can be found on their website at www.belfasthills.org. I'm Ricky Thompson for Belfast Telegraph Online.
Hi, I'm Joe Boylan and I'm the Outreach Officer for the Landscape Partnership Scheme. My scheme highlight without a doubt was the community archaeology digs that we carried out at various sites across the Belfast Hills. This was a great way to really connect with local people, giving them a chance to get their hands on history and help us to discover some of the mysteries that shroud some of our best heritage sites. Throughout the project we engaged with 2,800 people and we did this through a variety of ways. We had members of the public come to the site and have a go at excavation. We ran training courses teaching people practical archaeological skills, and we had various walks and talks with archaeologists at the various sites. My favourite part, however, was working with the schools. I developed a loan box full of artefacts, replica artefacts, that I took on an archaeological roadshow around the schools that were participating in the dig. So I was able to teach young people all about life in early Ireland through the Mesolithic, Neolithic and Bronze Age times and let them sort of get a feel for the heritage of their area. Then the phase 2 was that they came to the sites and really had a go at digging. For me, the best part of the dig was seeing their faces whenever they dug up a bit of flint or a bit of quartz or even a bit of burnt charcoal, and they knew that they were the first people that had maybe got their hands on that in thousands of years. It really created the best buzz about the whole project. So anyway, here's a wee video of the dig in action. Enjoy.
We are digging up things that people would have used in the Neolithic and Neolithic times, and that we found some pottery, flint stone that they could have used to cut meat.
The project is part of a Landscape Partnership Scheme. It's funded by the Heritage Lottery Fund and also supported by the DOE's Built Historic Monuments Unit, and we're very fortunate they've enabled us to have archaeologists from Queen's come along to really guide us through the digging process to really get to grips with the site once and for all to solve this greatest mystery of the Belfast Hills.
We've known about this site for some time. It's been used in recent years for a number of student projects, surveying projects and the like, and we thought it was a very good candidate for further investigation, largely because really so little was genuinely known about it.
This nature reserve is owned and managed by the Ulster Wildlife Trust. It's in the heart of the Belfast Hills. It's a very special site. It's designated as an ASSI, which means it's an area of special scientific interest, specifically for all the beautiful wildflowers that are found here on the site. But it's even more special because it's also a scheduled monument. We're standing here in the middle of a mysterious earthen ring. We don't really know very much about it, when it even dates from, and that's why we're having the archaeologists along here on the site to really uncover what lies beneath.
Well, we're excavating it using the sort of standard archaeological excavation techniques that have been built up over the past number of decades in archaeological departments sort of all around the world really. We excavate very carefully. We record each individual soil layer and each individual structure, both photographically and also using scale drawings. We take samples of the archaeological strata or layers that we encounter. We keep records of all artifacts that we find, and all our samples and artifacts are brought back to the Archaeological Conservation Lab at Queen's, where they're further examined and where there are a number of different ways of analysis which we can examine them with. The primary aim of this project is essentially data gathering. We have no idea as to the nature or antiquity of this monument, or we had no idea at the start of the project.
And what's been your favourite part of today?
Well, most of all, finding flint stone and showing other people how to like how it's decorated, how it's designed.
The digging where you get to find all the stuff, because it's really hard, and then you get to use your hands, and it's really fun.
Hi, my name's Patricia Deeney. I'm the Youth Development Officer here in the Belfast Hills for the Our Bright Future project. I was previously the Outreach Officer for the LP scheme back in 2015 as a maternity cover post. So I have loads of favourite moments from the LP scheme, but one particular highlight was working on the River Awareness project. So the main aim of this project was to encourage local schools and community groups to find out a little bit more about their local rivers and how they connect to the hills, and particularly their importance for biodiversity and heritage. So we engaged with 1,400 members of the public, 660 school children through activities like river cleanups, wildlife sessions. We did river geography fieldwork, and we even did a whole festival on the river itself back in 2014. One particularly successful element though was the Salmon in the Classroom project, and here's a little clip that will explain a bit more.
On a lovely spring day, school is no place for nature lovers. So these pupils from Ballymacward Primary near Lisburn have taken to the outdoor classroom. They're at the Colin River in Belfast to release hundreds of juvenile salmon they've been babysitting for months.
I just love watching nature growing, like watching them how they survive and stuff, and learning more and more about them. How do they grow? Because we know how we grow, but how do they grow? Like, because they're living in their wild habitat, and how do they hide from prey and stuff like that? So it's fascinating.
The river never stays the same shape every time.
While looking after these fish, the children have been learning about them, bringing their life cycle alive. And now the day has come to say goodbye.
I think the children, having cared for and nurtured the animals in the room here, will take a very close interest in all things to do with river conservation in the future.
The water in the classroom tank is water from the Colin River. Now, we're not exactly sure, but we think that salmon use the chemical composition of that water to help guide them back to their spawning spot after a couple of years in the Atlantic Ocean.
And that little guy there is a little mayfly larva.
10, 9.
They've been taught too about the harsh side of nature, the risks these fish will face, like predators and pollution. They know that only 3% of them will return to the Colin to spawn in a few years, and in this case that's just 5 adult salmon. Conor Macaulay, BBC Newsline, by the Colin River.
Hello, my name is Freddie Harris, and I was the volunteer and training officer at the Belfast Hills Partnership from 2012 until 2015. When I joined the Belfast Hills Partnership, I was given the brief to build a team of volunteers to try and get them engaged in the tasks and the work we were doing, try and build some passion. But really, their passion started to overtake anything that I was bringing to the group. They weren't just sharing their time with us, but they were also sharing their knowledge, their best practice, their jokes, their stories, their biscuits, and their friendships. And when it came time to leave the Belfast Hills Partnership, I was really struck by, I wasn't just leaving a job, I was also leaving this group of fantastic people behind. And that really is what will live with me from my time with the Belfast Hills Partnership. And now you can see a video of the first volunteer task we did on the Ballycullen Road.
I'm Lisa Critchley. I have been the volunteer and outreach officer for the Landscape Partnership Scheme for the last 2.5 years and will remain with the volunteers for the legacy part of the scheme. Every week throughout the year, the volunteers and I head out into the hills to carry out a huge variety of tasks, from tree planting and scrub clearance during the autumn and winter months to wildfire surveys and invasive plant species control during the spring and summer. I'd like to say that any part of working with the volunteers is a highlight, especially when the sun is shining and the crack is great. However, one thing stands out for me the most, and that is the dedication of the volunteers to their role. Sometimes I find myself looking out at the horizontal freezing rain and wonder to myself who is actually going to turn up to this task this morning, and they always all do. No matter what the weather, no matter how tough the task is, they always turn up and give it their all, and they rarely complain. They really make my job a pleasure, and it wouldn't be the same without them. Here's a short video to demonstrate the kind of weather that they deal with.
I'm making my way north on an unpretentious day. Yesterday the sky was naked. Today she's wrapped herself in grey. And I have cloaked myself in my hat and coat and dreams. So for now I am safe from the cold, whatever today brings.
Hi, my name is David Scott, and I was Landscape Project Officer with the Belfast Hills Landscape Partnership Scheme from 2012 through to 2016. It was a very varied role, taking in a lot of different projects and different initiatives, from built heritage restoration to brand development, working with volunteers, the farming community. But one that really stood out for me was the industrial site restoration project. It was a sector I'd never worked with, so didn't know what to expect, and found that once we started engaging with the quarry owners and site managers, there was a real appetite for developing their sites for the benefit of biodiversity and also landscape character. By working with the site managers and the staff on the ground from the initial design of the projects, they really came on board and started to take ownership of the projects themselves, which meant delivery was made a lot easier. And what started out quite small, for example small test plots for wildflowers, turned into acres and acres of species-rich grassland being created. A few trees going in as shelter belts and stabilised scree slopes turned into thousands and thousands of trees being planted by our volunteers, which has created new woodlands right across the Belfast Hills. As I say, the Landscape Partnership Scheme delivered a huge amount over its time, and this was only one project, but for me it was one that really did deliver landscape scale change. And here's a short film to demonstrate it.
We're out today planting native deciduous trees in Aughrim Quarry, which is a working landfill site. It used to be a quarry and now they're filling in the cells, so we're part of restoration of the site. So I've got a team of brilliant volunteers out today planting all these different trees to renaturalise the site. It's an old quarry site, so it's obviously been quite disrupted. So it's just planting native trees back in the area, which will then encourage the wildlife to come back, and it creates more habitats for them. It's also to link up. A lot of what the hills do for work as well is connections. So like hedgerows and stuff like that are really, really important because they connect patches of wood like this, and if you've then got a hedgerow which that then connects this patch to another patch, and it makes a really safe area for the wildlife to come through. So we're again helping with that and increasing the habitats. You can see behind me this is probably about 10-15 year old trees that were planted by a contractor, so it's all pretty much single species and blocks of trees. So what we're planting today is a lot more naturally planted. It's quite random. There's about 6 different native species that we're planting. So it's just to renaturalise the site and make a really good habitat.
Hi, I'm Jim Bradley. I'm manager of the Belfast Hills Partnership. We've been working on wildfires in the hills for many years. It's one of the big problems that we have in the hills. But since the Landscape Partnership Scheme has supported a lot of the work that we've been doing over the last few years, we've really managed to increase how we record and manage the wildfires, how we find out what the impacts are. But the big thing has been to really raise awareness about wildfires and the impacts that they have on the hills. That means that lots of people phone up whenever they see a fire. Maybe in the past they wouldn't have bothered, but in particular one of the great things that we've been able to do is to produce a short film that highlights to young people the dangers of wildfires and what they need to do, and here it is.
Hey, come on in, we've got the place to ourselves for once. Do you remember yourself? So what have you got? I got the popcorn. Here, go put it on again. The DVD's players there.
We need more. Yeah, I know. If you got anything in the bag, I've got a packet. Here, like, just some wrappers.
Come on, sir, let's get into the good bit. What have I missed?
Are you sure about this? Yeah, don't worry. Do we have anything to put it out with later on? Rain.
What's that really loud noise? The popcorn. What did you do with it? Put it in a pot.
It's microwavable.
Your kitchen's gonna be covered in popcorn. Is my hair meant to sting like this?
Come on upstairs, we'll wash it off.
Oh my god.
Where were you? The fire brigade would have got here on time. Only there was another fire on the mountain.
Sorry, love. There's not much left.
Well, for the entire north and west Belfast side of the city, we've got 5 fire engines and there's 3 fire stations. The main message here is we've only a certain amount of fire engines to look after all the people in the city. So therefore, if they're out dealing with wildfires, they can't be tackling city fires or road traffic accidents or flooding incidents and basically helping people. Wildfires are totally avoidable. So that's the main message, don't do them.
Thank you.